obscured by the steel furnaces which forged it and the chemical works which once helped sustain it, Grangetown was a besieged and redundant place when I last came 14 years ago. But these days, politicians on Teesside boast of huge regeneration and even the prospect of full employment. So how has Grangetown fared? As I headed down the hill, I met Phyllis and Ida at the bus stop, neighbours in Grangetown for over 40 years, but they told me no more.
Yeah, we wanted to stay, but we couldn't. We weren't allowed, so we had to go out. We had to move out.
But you wanted to stay in those houses?
All of us did. Yeah, we all
We're all settled.
So why did you have to move out?
God knows.
Well, we had no other choice.
So what had happened to Grangetown to force these women from their homes? I recalled the place I'd visited all those years before. The Legion Club, where beer and fags provided rare pleasures for an army of unemployed in a town with chronic ill health. How could I forget the club singer who didn't have the puff to finish his song? But I also remembered a proud people determined to fight for their community. The place had believed in itself, convinced its fortunes would change. Turning the corner into 21st century Grangetown, I could barely believe what I saw. These homes were the heart of Grangetown. The Victorian terraces built for the families of men who beat the ore from nearby Easton hills into the iron foundations of the industrial age. Phyllis and Ida lived just along here. But like them, the inhabitants have left. The streets are abandoned. The desecrated shells await the demolition man.
There's a lot of people in Grangetown that will refuse to admit that this is happening.
The Residents' Association told me how gangs roam Grangetown's estates, threatening anyone who grasses to police.
There's motorbikes, fireworks, yobbos, everything.
I mean, what about you and your... I mean, can you walk about safely, do you think?
No, I have to get a taxi. I don't live down the road. It costs me £2 to go and £2 to come back when I come for the bingo on a Monday and Thursday.
These are some of the photographs of vandalism and what people... These are houses that they've just wrecked where people's had to move out of.
Police don't bother with Grangetown, I was told. So those who've stuck it out have started collecting evidence themselves. This boy is firing bolts at passers-by from a handmade catapult. On average, the fire brigade deal with an arson in Grangetown twice a night. What has gone wrong? Residents blame a decision in the mid-90s to move families out while their homes were refurbished. The improvements took a year. Many never returned. Instead, problem families from other areas were moved in.
They came up with a stupid idea that if they put all the idiots and all the criminals into one place, at least they know where they are, and at least they can contain the situation. That didn't happen. And then they came up with another idea, well, if we put a bad family next to a good family,
they'll turn good.
They'll turn good, and it didn't, because all the bad family actually caused that much trouble. The decent people ended up moving out, and more bad people came in.
Yeah.
Normally people would jump at a house if there's a property empty and it's a decent area. Yeah. But they don't come into these houses, it takes a long time to come into here. Yeah. And it's all over this estate around here and the bottom of Grangetown.
It feels like a ghost town, this place.
Yeah, it's getting quiet. In that way, there seems to be less people and more bloody trouble, I don't know.
I've recently taken 2 youths to court. They've been sentenced. But on my way out of court, my life was threatened. And now I'm in a situation where I'm being forced to move out of my home for the safety of me keeping my family safe.
Jan's son Alex had a knife held to his throat by 2 youths. Since then, he's escorted the few hundred yards between his school and his front door.
Sometimes you're even afraid to say hello to somebody in fear that something's going to happen to you, or
Is it real that though? I mean,
Oh yeah,
what's
yeah.
on?
I've walking down the street only a couple of months ago, and I was bricked for walking down the street, for walking to a shop. I was bricked. I had to get the doorman of a shop, they have doormen on shops around here, to walk me home. This is the camera that I've had to have put in by my housing association because of the extent of damage that I've had done to my car. And
So powerless do people feel that Jan says she recently agreed to meet and pay the burglar who'd ransacked her parents' home in return for the car he also stole. He took £200, but trashed the vehicle anyway.
down here.
You know this area, you know so well. I mean, what's it going to be like when you finally have to pack your bags?
Well, I already find it really emotional because this is where I grew up. And I want my son to know what it was like for me growing up, but I don't want him to know what it's like it is now, because it's a totally different world. How I grew up and how Grangetown is now, it's not the same. It's just not the same anymore.